Well, just before recording the power rankings for today, we had a trade that was announced between the Guelph Storm and the Brampton Steelheads. And this trade kind of makes sense on both fronts. You've got the Brampton Steelheads, who are expected to be a contender in the OHL's Eastern Conference, but have been off to a slow first half of the regular season. While the Guelph Storm, a team looking to the future and looking to collect some assets as they build for a couple of years from now. So, with that in mind, Vilmer Alriksson, the Swedish import, has been traded to the Brampton Steelheads for 3 draft picks, a third-round pick in 2025, that's from the Ottawa 67s, along with a second from Brantford in 2026, and Saginaw's third-round pick in 2027. So no conditions on any of those picks going back to the Guelph Storm. So this is, I think, a pretty good move for both teams, as Ulrichsen will bring a little more offensive ability to the Brampton Steelheads, who at times have been criticized as maybe being a one-line team. We already know about the exceptional play of Carson Rakoff, along with Porter Martone and Angus McDonnell. We saw that right at the start of the regular season. They were firing on all cylinders. And then you lose McDonnell due to injury. He still hasn't been back. And now Martone and Rakoff both off with Team Canada at the World Junior Hockey Championships. And this offense has kind of lost a bit of its bite. And that's where a player like Vilmer Alriksson will come in handy. He's a Vancouver Canucks prospect. He was drafted in the 4th round of the 2023 NHL entry draft. And Alriksson, a pretty fun player to follow. And Guelph so far this season, 11 goals, 12 assists, 23 points. And that's in 26 games of action. Obviously, Guelph, the goal scoring has been an issue these last couple of seasons. And when you look at his stats from last year, 67 games, 17 goals, 16 assists, 33 points, you see that he's not far off from last season's pace. And with him coming to the Brampton Steelheads, I would expect his numbers to improve even further. As Ulrichsen, he's got that left-handed shot. He's a big body too, 6'6", 234 pounds. I think the Steelheads fan base, they're going to love what Ulrichsen can bring to this team. And with the OHL, there is the rule of 2 imports. So that means with Jakob Fibiger and Ulrichsen, the odd man out in this situation is number 88, Martin Vachulik of Czechia. Vachulik, this was his first season in the Ontario Hockey League, and he's been released as a result of this move. He's only appeared in 20 games, a goal, 6 assists, 7 points. So he wasn't really contributing all that often offensively. I know we got to see him in a preseason game when Brampton was in Barrie, and he looked not too bad. He had the wheels, but he could probably work on that shot, and it's evident with the 1 goal so far this season. But Vachulik has been released by the Steelheads as a result of this move. So the Brampton Steelheads are in a very interesting spot right now on a 5-game losing streak, and right now relying on a lot of call-ups right now. And even though they have these call-ups in the lineup, they have been contributing. For example, Aiden Lane, 1 goal in 1 game of work. So he contributed in his first taste of OHL action. Other players who have contributed being called up, Alexander Steven, a goal and 2 assists in 5 games of work. Manuel Amato, he stood out to me in the preseason. He's appeared in 8 games, 1 assist during his time up with the Brampton Steelheads. And also, even though these players aren't contributing on the score sheet, they're also showing what else they're capable of, such as Graham McCauley, 4 shots on goal in 4 games. Obviously, he's had limited ice time with Brampton since being called up. So those are just some of the call-ups and what they've been able to do. But really, if you're a team with deep aspirations for an OHL championship, you need to have depth that are going to be there on a regular basis contributing. So that's where Ulrichsen, I think, is going to come in handy. He should do quite well, I feel, with the play that the Steelheads have. And this team, once they get Martone back, once they get Rakoff, and once McDonnell is healthy, having a few scoring options lines-wise will help this team in the long run. And then they can close that gap with the Barrie Colts and Niagara Ice Dogs, who currently hold top spot in that Central Division. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more moves here involving Brampton, as they do have a lot of draft picks to work with. They, of course, did that trade sending Ryerson Leanders to the Brantford Bulldogs at the start of the regular season. One of those picks was used in this trade, but they still have some draft capital to use here if they look to add a few more pieces. I wouldn't be surprised if they add another, maybe a forward and a defenseman, because the goaltending is set. Jack Ivankovic, he's right now with Team Canada as well at the World Juniors. This team's got the goaltending, but it's out front where they need to get more offense, and I think that's where Brampton will look next after already acquiring Vilmer Alriksson. Now, there was a pretty cool tribute over the weekend. It was the American Hockey League's Belleville Senators. They had a Belleville Bulls night where they honored the team that won the 1999 OHL championship. So at the game at the CAA Center, it was a sellout, the first of the year. As fans, they love the Bulls, and I know there's quite a few people who would like to see the Belleville Bulls return to the Ontario Hockey League. But the American Hockey League team had a special night, and they brought out some of the alumni from that 1999 OHL championship. They also had the J. Ross Robertson Cup there on the ice, along with the Wayne Gretzky Memorial Trophy. And it was actually, I kind of thought it was interesting that the OHL would allow those trophies to be a part of the ceremony. But I think it was a great touch because obviously the Belleville Bulls have meant so much to that community. All those years playing at the Yardman Arena, it feels like there's a bit of a void right now in the OHL since they relocated to Hamilton to become the Bulldogs. And of course, now the organization playing out of Brantford. But still, those jerseys, they were sharp. They used the Belleville Bull logo that was the cartoon, as you can see in the picture here, just examples of the jersey. It was beautiful in all its glory. It was great to see it back on the ice. It was just a one-game event. They played against the Rochester Americans, ended up losing that game by a score of 8-2. But the one thing that was really unfortunate is that Malcolm Subban was not in net for that game to start. Subban, of course, played for the Belleville Bulls during his junior hockey days. So I think that was a bit of a missed opportunity, especially for the Belleville fans who came out. And I know there's been some who've been saying that this market wants junior hockey back. And some people have been pointing to attendance. There's been attendance issues. But when you look at the numbers, attendance might be down from when the Belleville Senators first arrived in the 2017-2018 season. That year, they were averaging 3,608 fans per game. That was the peak. Since then, it has dropped. It dropped to just over 3,000 in the 2018-19 season. In 1920, it dropped below 3,000 to 2,800. Of course, we had the COVID years. So looking at the last two seasons for average attendance, in 2022-23, they had an average attendance of 2,491. It then jumped to 2,738 in 23-24. And this season right now, the Belleville Senators' average attendance is 2,702, which when you compare it to the rest of the American Hockey League, the Belleville Senators have the second lowest average attendance. The only team with fewer fans in the stands, the San Jose Barracuda, and they had an average attendance of 2,116. Utica, the third fewest, they had 2,954. So only three teams in the American Hockey League right now are averaging less than 3,000 fans per game. And that's where a lot of people are pointing and saying, well, Belleville's more of an OHL team or an OHL community, and they want to see the Bulls back. But they do have an arena lease that runs until the 26-27 season, I do believe. And then after that, who knows? Maybe they'll relocate to another city. There's rumors going around that maybe Hamilton could be a landing spot. They're, of course, renovating the First Ontario Center. And then if that does happen, does the OHL look to expand to Belleville, or does a team relocate to Belleville? I don't know where it is right now. Nothing has been confirmed, but I know that a lot of fans would love to see the Bulls back in the OHL. But if you look at the average attendance when the Belleville Bulls had their last season in the OHL, they were averaging 2,545 fans. So their average attendance is higher now than it was then. I know they did the renovations at the CAA Center before it was the Yardman Arena. And the big complaint was they needed a new arena or renovations. And that's what ended up leading to the sale of the Bulls to Michael Andlauer, who then moved the team to Hamilton because the city of Belleville, not in a hurry really to do anything with the arena. It wasn't until the shock that the Bulls ended up leaving that the city would actually renovate the arena. I haven't been back since, but from the images I've seen and from the people I've talked to, the arena, they've done an amazing job with, of course, the increased capacity, while also shrinking the ice surface because it used to be an Olympic-sized ice surface at the Yardman Arena. Now at the CAA Arena, it's your standard ice surface, which I think is kind of too bad because I miss the old home ice advantage that the Belleville Bulls had. But still, when you look at the attendance, the last time the Belleville Bulls had more fans in the stands than what the Belleville Senators have now, you have to go back to 2008, 2009 when they averaged 2,970 fans. During the existence of the Belleville Bulls, the only time they were above 3,000 was 2002, 2003. And that's when they had an average attendance of 3,100. So I know a lot of people are looking at the attendance of the Belleville Senators and saying it's not doing well, but the average right now is better than what the Belleville Bulls had since 2003. So I don't know if you can look at the attendance as being something to say this team needs to move and we need the OHL back. It could be a part of the argument, but still, I just want to focus on the nice touch that the Belleville Senators had because those jerseys were sharp. Now, over the weekend, there was some sad news coming out of Erie, Pennsylvania, as team owner Jim Waters passed away suddenly. It was a bit of a shock to the Erie Otters organization as Waters, he purchased the team from Sherry Bassin back in 2016. And at the time, there was a lot of question marks as to whether or not the Otters would relocate because there was rumors that the team would be moving to Hamilton, to Brantford. Obviously, that never happened. Connor McDavid then showed up, and the team put on winning seasons. They had, I believe it was 4 consecutive 50-win seasons. They eventually won the OHL championship in 2017 with Waters as the owner. So he meant so much to Erie. He believed in Erie as a junior hockey market, and he was doing everything he could to make sure the team was successful. And that was by hiring hockey minds to run the organization. So he was at the rink every now and then to take in a game. He was involved from a distance, but Jim Waters meaning so much to this Erie Otters organization. And on Saturday against the Saginaw Spirit, they were wearing special Christmas sweater uniforms, and those jerseys are being auctioned off with the proceeds going to the immediate Waters family. So a nice touch there. I also know that Jim Waters was excited about the jersey retirement that was coming up in January for Connor McDavid. He was actually talking to Sherry Bassin about that just a week ago. This is what Bassin was saying, and Bassin will be in attendance for that jersey retirement ceremony. And you know that's going to have a special touch for Jim Waters. So my condolences to the Waters family and also to the rest of the Erie Otters organization, as he just meant so much to that team, and also his background in media. He had a great connection with radio in Canada and helping develop it and move forward, especially in the GTA. So condolences to Waters, as he meant quite a bit to so many as he passed away at the age of 73. So that's how I see it from the booth. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on any of these news items, be it the Belleville Senators. Do you think they should be moving and bring the Bulls back in the OHL? Or what are your thoughts on the trade between the Guelph Storm and the Brampton Steelheads? Love to see the interactions. Thank you very much for your support. Talk to you again soon.